Have you ever wondered why narcissists cheat? Often somehow turning it around to make you feel like it's your fault? In this video, we're diving deep into why they cheat, not to make excuses for their actions, but to help you understand that it's not your fault, even if they blame you. This will help you heal and move forward, instead of blaming yourself or trying to fix them. There are 6 main reasons narcissists cheat, and one of these reasons will surprise you because it also applies to good partners, though for different, deeper needs. The first reason narcissists cheat stems from their constant need for validation and praise to maintain the false image they've created for themselves. Every narcissist seeks to be admired, but the source of their validation varies. Some want to be seen as brilliant or the best in a certain field. Others crave recognition for their success in business. Then there are the somatic narcissists, those who derive validation from their appearance and desirability. For them, getting you into bed is the ultimate form of validation. For these narcissists, the act of seduction is the conquest. Once they've won you, the sense of validation they gain is tied to the effort it took them to win your affection. The more desirable you are, or the harder they had to work to capture your attention, the more it inflates their ego. But this high doesn't last. Once the thrill of the chase fades, so does their interest in you as a source of validation. Some may stay in the relationship and even marry, but the underlying dynamic remains the same. Now that they have you, you can no longer give them the validation they need, as the chase is over and you are already a mark on their scorecard. To feed their ego, they seek new conquests, stepping out and cheating. Not because there's anything wrong with you, but because they need to continually prove to themselves that they are still desirable. By seducing and sleeping with someone else, they reaffirm their worth in their own eyes. This type of narcissist is often a serial cheater, driven by shallow connections and an endless need for external validation. To them, you aren't a unique individual with your own needs and feelings. You're just a number on their scorecard, a means to boost their ego. The second reason narcissists cheat is rooted in their delusional mindset. To an extent, all narcissists reject reality and construct a false image of themselves where they are more special and superior than they truly are. This carefully crafted illusion serves to suppress their deep insecurities. The fear that, if people saw the real them, they would be rejected and abandoned. But instead of working on themselves to improve and build genuine self-worth, narcissists find it easier to lie to themselves and others by creating a false image of perfection. This illusion, they believe, will make them immune to rejection. However, this habit of rejecting reality doesn't stop with their self-image. It extends into their relationships. Narcissists often create a magical, fairy tale future in their minds for themselves and their partner. In this imagined world, everything is perfect. You and they will live in eternal happiness, and they will never again feel upset, unappreciated, or depressed. But this fantasy isn't just about the general sense of happiness. It includes a detailed script that they've created in their head about how you will behave. In this script, you will act as the perfect partner, always knowing exactly what they need without them having to say a word. You will consistently please them, never disagree with them, always shower them with compliments, and drop everything for them whenever they demand your attention. To the narcissist, this idealized version of love is how a partner should act, down to the smallest details. But here's the problem. They never communicate the script to you. It exists only in their mind, and yet they expect you to follow it flawlessly. When you invariably fail to meet these unrealistic and unspoken expectations, the narcissist feels disappointed and angry. In their eyes, you've broken an unspoken promise you agreed to when you took them as a partner. Instead of reflecting on whether their expectations are fair or realistic, they convince themselves that you've deceived them and failed to uphold your end of the bargain. They may even feel that you betrayed them by not magically fulfilling their needs. Rather than communicating openly about what they want or reassessing their expectations, they blame you entirely for their dissatisfaction. This blame then becomes their justification for seeking happiness elsewhere. They start to believe they are entitled to find someone who will fulfill the script they've created. Often, they become infatuated with someone new who, in their mind, represents the perfect partner, someone who will give them everything they feel you failed to provide. Yet, at the same time, they may not want to leave you, whether it's because leaving would hurt their ego or because you still offer certain benefits. They rationalize their cheating as acceptable. In their delusional mind, they believe they are entitled to both the stability you provide and the fantasy they seek with someone else. Now, you might think that if you could just figure out what they want and follow their script, everything would be fine. But it won't be. The problem isn't you, it's the script itself. And the reason the script exists ties directly into the third reason narcissists cheat on you. All narcissists are emotionally immature and struggle with their emotions. This isn't unique to narcissists, it's actually a common issue many people face. But what sets narcissists apart is their sense of entitlement and inability to self-reflect, which causes them to react differently. Emotionally immature people are often controlled by their emotions. Many don't even know where their emotions come from, and narcissists tend to believe their emotions are caused by others. In their minds, if they are upset, it must be someone else's fault. Some narcissists even believe their emotions are absolute truths. For example, if they feel something is real, then to them it is real, even if all evidence says otherwise. What most people don't realize is that emotions are survival signals from the brain. Your brain is constantly collecting information from your environment, far more than you're consciously aware of. It uses past experiences, beliefs, and patterns to make predictions about what might happen next. When it detects a potential threat, it sends out an emotional signal through chemical and electrical reactions to prepare your body to respond. This process happens fast and bypasses the slower, logical part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex. It's an instinctive system designed to keep you safe, like reacting to a rustle in the bushes that could be a tiger. But as humans became more social, emotions evolved to also act as a form of communication. In fact, there are 6 universal emotions, things like fear, anger, and happiness, that are recognized worldwide. Even people who are blind from birth instinctively express these emotions with the same facial expressions. Emotions are messages from your subconscious mind about what it predicts might happen next. The key is to either act on these emotions to address the situation or analyze them with your conscious mind to understand what they're telling you. Now, here's where it gets complicated for narcissists. Everyone wants to be happy. But when you don't understand that emotions are just signals from your brain, you might believe you should be happy all the time. That's when people start asking, how do I become happy? And here's where narcissists and empaths split. Narcissists believe it's someone else's job to make them happy. They feel entitled to happiness and expect others to manage their emotions for them. On the other hand, empaths believe their worth comes from making others happy, so they might take on the responsibility of trying to fix the narcissist's feelings. They may even feel that they only deserve to be happy when the narcissist is happy. But when the narcissist's ego is threatened, whether by someone criticizing them, being happier than them, driving a better car, or just being better looking, their brain sends out a signal of fear. They feel worthless and fear being abandoned. But instead of recognizing this for what it is, an insecurity bubbling up, or their ego being bruised, they interpret it as simply not being happy. Now, they have to figure out why they are unhappy. And since they believe it's your job to make them happy, their unhappiness means you've failed at your job. Over time, This can lead the narcissist to feel entitled to seek happiness elsewhere, usually with someone they believe will treat them the way they deserve. Often, this belief is based on delusional thinking, imagining how perfect this other person will be for them. But here's the core problem. You can't make someone else happy. Emotions are signals from the brain, and it's up to each person to self-assess and figure out why they feel a certain way. They have to deal with those feelings and, most importantly, work on themselves to develop healthy self-worth that isn't based on others' opinions. Only then can they truly find happiness within themselves, instead of depending on others to fill that void. The narcissist, however, cannot admit they aren't perfect. Admitting they need to change would mean admitting they're flawed, which is something they simply can't do. So instead, they keep blaming you for their unhappiness. No matter what you do, it will never be enough to make them truly happy or keep them happy all the time. For instance, a narcissist may not feel loved because you're not following the delusional script they made in their head of how one should show love and how they are supposed to feel when they are loved. And because they believe their emotions are facts, they believe you do not love them no matter what you do for them. Then, due to their entitlement, feel justified in seeking validation elsewhere because they think they are owed a perfect, idealized version of love that you're obligated but failing to deliver. The fourth reason narcissists cheat often overlaps with the reasons even good partners may stray. The relationship has become sexless. In relationships with narcissists, this dynamic is frequently created by the narcissist themselves. They may use sex as a tool for manipulation, withholding affection whenever they don't get their way or are upset. Over time, this calculated denial of intimacy serves as a form of control, leaving their partner feeling rejected and unwanted. However, intimacy may also disappear because a partner is emotionally and physically drained from enduring relentless abuse. When someone suffers constant mistreatment, neglect, or criticism, it's no surprise that their desire for closeness fades. What was once a loving connection deteriorates into something that feels more like a roommate arrangement than a marriage. In some cases, the partner, desperate for love and human connection, may seek intimacy elsewhere as a way to cope with their unmet needs. This behavior, while not ideal, often comes from a place of deep pain and longing, a desire to feel valued, seen, and cared for again. It's critical to recognize that this is not the same as the narcissist's shallow, ego-driven motives for cheating. For the narcissist, cheating stems from a sense of entitlement. They believe they deserve whatever they want, regardless of how it affects others. Moreover, it is often the narcissist's actions, manipulation, neglect, or outright abuse that creates the breakdown in the relationship to begin with. The victim's response, while imperfect, is rooted in survival and emotional need, whereas the narcissist's behavior is rooted in self-interest and a lack of empathy. The fifth reason narcissists cheat stems from their inability to form deep, meaningful connections. Narcissists often have a profound fear of rejection, which leads many of them to develop an avoidant attachment style. This attachment style serves as a defense mechanism. They avoid fully committing to anyone or anything to protect their fragile ego from the pain of being rejected. By keeping their emotions distant, they believe they can minimize the risk of being hurt. But this emotional detachment comes with a cost. You simply don't mean that much to them. No matter how much you give to the narcissist, no matter how much you give to the relationship, they don't take things as seriously as you do. Even if they stood before family and friends and vowed until death do us part, or promised to be there in sickness and health, those words didn't hold the same weight for them. For the narcissist, those commitments were never about genuine connection or devotion. They were just part of the image they were creating at the time. Deep down, most narcissists know their cheating is wrong. They understand it could damage the relationship, hurt you, impact the children, and even disappoint the extended family. But the truth is, they don't care enough to resist their urges. You and the relationship simply don't matter to them as much as their own desires and emotions do. To justify their behavior, narcissists often rely on the same reasons discussed earlier. They may blame you, saying it's your fault for not treating them well enough or for not trying hard enough to make them happy. They might argue that you are a wonderful person, but you just don't excite them, claiming they deserve to feel passion and excitement. Some will downplay their actions, saying it was just sex and meant nothing, or that it was a fleeting moment of weakness because the other person was irresistible. Regardless of the excuses they give, the underlying truth remains the same. Their emotions and desires take precedence over everything else. Their commitment to you, the relationship, and the vows they made simply aren't as important to them as satisfying their own needs. The final reason narcissists often cheat is both cruel and calculated: to punish you. The reasons they feel they need to punish you can vary wildly. Perhaps you failed to make them happy, criticized them, or didn't notice their new hairstyle. Some narcissists may even convince themselves that you've been unfaithful without any real evidence, just because they feel it. Whatever the reason, the goal of their cheating is not about love, fulfillment, or even desire. It's about inflicting pain. The act of cheating now becomes a way to get revenge or reassert control. They might sleep with your best friend, your siblings, or even, in extreme cases, your parent, completely disregarding the devastation this would cause. In their mind, it's not about the consequences or the damage to the relationship. It's about satisfying their need to hurt you or to boost their own ego, even if you never find out about the betrayal. This kind of cheating is not rooted in the typical reasons people might stray from a relationship. It's not about seeking something they're missing. It's a deliberate act of harm, driven by their own insecurities, entitlement, and a lack of empathy. In a lot of the cases, the narcissist will try to break you down and devalue you in their eyes so they can feel better about cheating on you. This can go on to the point that victims consider suicide. See this video to learn more about how narcissists can drive you to the edge.